Fitness Pro Mentor community, welcome to another episode. I'm extremely excited to have a returning guest and someone who I definitely look up to, all of his platforms, all the content he creates, and everything he's done in this world, in the fitness landscape, Mr. Marc Megna. Marc, thanks so much for being here. Really excited to talk to you today about creating culture.
Thanks so much for having me on. I'm going to do my best. I know very little, but I know what I know, and I know what I've experienced, so I'm happy to share it.
I love that. There are two things. We were just talking off air very quickly. You are a new father, which congratulations, a 2.5-month-old. That's just absolutely brilliant. How's that experience going so far?
It's really special. It's really special. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, love it. And then I got to tell you one thing before we jump into this. Speaking of culture, I think 100% inspired by you and your social media, purchased a ski erg machine and has been assaulting it personally as part of my workouts. And it's been game changing, man. I love that thing. It's incredible.
Yeah, the gift and the curse. It's a really unique training tool, but conditioning. Good luck. It's a lot of fun. Listen, it's fun. It's certainly challenging, but what interval piece isn't challenging, right? It's unique because it's heavy on the upper body, but once you figure it out, you realize it's really hip dominant.
Yeah.
And but it's interesting.
Yeah, I've just started doing cycles. I try to do 5 to 10 cycles of 1 minute sprints, and it's awful. it's so rewarding at the same time. So thank you for consistently posting that and inspiring me there. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. You're going to enjoy it. Let me know if I can help you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Marc, what I wanted to do today is you are definitely have done an incredible job in creating culture at Anatomy and in really all aspects of the fitness world that you've been involved with. So I got a handful of questions for you around creating culture. I'm thinking of it for fitness professionals, but I think there's a lot of different ways this could go for both personal and business and really any environment.
I'm having trouble hearing you. Give me 1 second here.
No problem. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Marc? Is that better?
That's much better. I believe it is. Thank you.
Excellent. Perfect. Marc, you're an expert of creating culture in many areas. And maybe you may not see yourself as an expert, but you're someone who definitely, lives the life and really does everything you can around creating culture. I was just wondering, thinking if someone was a business owner and they asked you to define culture, how would you think about it?
First of all, thank you for saying that. And I mean this. I'm definitely not an expert, but I by all accounts, I'm trying very hard. And but we do it collectively as a team here, and we have a great ownership group, and we have a great team. And I think you want a definition on culture, but it starts with the quality of the people that we bring in, because everyone comes in for a specific role, but it all starts with character. It all starts with what kind of a person we're bringing into the team. We have to be very mindful and careful who we bring in, because they could add significant value or they could pull it apart. And to have people here who understand what a team, the dynamics of a team, and the dynamics of how we support and help each other, that's the most important thing. Then becomes your job description and your responsibilities and how you're going to add value to the team. But it starts with the core and the character of the person you bring.
And so would you say that the culture, at least on the business professional end for you, is a summation of all the players coming together and the experience they create as an emergent team?
Yeah, 100%. We've said it many times over, but not to take credit away from what anatomy is, because it's a very wonderful, special facility. It's beautiful. My business partner is amazing, Chris, at so many things and designing these facilities. But we all agree on one thing, or many things, but we all agree that it's about the team and it's about the people. The people make it what it is. They give it its power. They give it its energy, its enthusiasm, the vibe, what we offer. At the end of the day, it comes down to a team. One of my mentors told me one time, if you're the leader of the team, or you're a leader of a team, and you show up to work but the team doesn't, how do you think it's going to go? And then he said, if they show up and you don't show up, how do you think it's going to go? Very powerful point, simple, but it's true. You really moves the needle, and the quality of the human being that we have make up our organization and our team. That's what makes us who we are.
You referenced, and I love that, because one of my mentors, Tom Purvis, who I know you know from the RTS world, I was standing in his garage right before I opened my gym 8.5 years ago. And I said, man, I can't wait for the day that the business is making enough money that I don't have to work as much. And he goes, never do that. I said, why? Because when you stop showing up, they'll stop showing up. And when people stop showing up, the business won't work anymore and everything falls apart. What do you think about that?
I mean, he's right. I mean, how do you say this? You can't teach or ask for the things that you don't do. If you're not living it, you can't ask other people to live it. So look, for a long time, even still now, you have to be our leadership team. They show up early. They show up early, and we expect our team to show up early, and we expect them to be on time. We expect them to be to bring great energy, to bring great enthusiasm. That's the most important thing. If you don't do it, you can't ask them to do it. Or you can ask them to do it, but you're not going to take it seriously, and you're not going to have anything special. They go as you go. Trickles downhill. I know it trickles uphill as well, but it also trickles downhill. And you have to be really careful when you're in this type of role, because you're being watched all the time. Regardless of what people say, you are being judged all of the time. And, they could find one small smidgen of a nuance that's not perfect, and they're going to rip it open. And you have to be okay with that. It's a lot of responsibility, but you're fake. And you have to have this mindset where you can just keep getting up, keep showing up, and understand that you will not win every day, but you have to do your very best, and that's what matters most.
Yeah, I don't know if you think of it this way, but in this leadership role I have here, there's the Ganesha, the kind of Indian elephant deity, the remover of obstacles. And right. One of my clients who's from that world talks about how that elephant just kind of walks through the forest and moves the trees out of the way, moves things gently it needs to, but sometimes bumps things out of the way. And as a business owner, there's so many different little tiny things that pop up, like hey, I noticed that person had a stronger scent than usual. Can you guys do something about that? Like a little complaint, or like you said, you have to really choose your battles of like, what things can I fix right now and what things can I get to later, and triage to help with that environment.
Yeah. I mean, there's really, we both know everything matters, certainly, but also it's, there's certain things like I have good business partners. They're good people, and they do a lot of great things, and we all decide like what we kind of know, like this person has to take care of this person has to take care of this. And our responsibility is to follow through, like really follow through. And you can't be above any job. I understand it's not optimal for me to be cleaning the gym floor all day, but you got to do it. You still have to do it. Maybe you don't have to do it as much, but you need to do it. There's something that needs talk to a member, talk to a body architect, talk to one of our leaders who are all wonderful. We have 3 leaders, body architect leaders. Andrew, Chloe is phenomenal. James, Ebling is amazing, and Mason Pope. These guys are like the top of the top of the top, and I mean like trainers. Okay, but we're talking about character, and when you have leaders like that who take great pride in what they do, and they actually want to work and do their job, and not only do their job, but they want to do it well. I mean, I can't tell you what a huge help that is. I mean, that's like, first of all, it's hard to find human beings like that. Secondly, it's hard to find 3 of them. So we're very fortunate, very fortunate.
You know, it's funny. That brings me a great question, because I mean, for here, my team, I have a leadership team as well, and it's grown organically of people who have shown up, and they have just, I mean, if it weren't for Glenn, Taylor, and Chris here, and a few other, well, the entire team, but those 3 in particular, I don't know what I would do, because they just do so much, and they bring so much integrity to the business.
Right.
I'm wondering for you, at the very beginning of Anatomy, I know you had the leadership team. How did is there anything that you did accidentally or deliberately that drew such strong personalities to you? Because I know a lot of business owners struggle to find their first teammate or 2.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we've been through several layers, and you know, there's probably over the last 8.5 years, or call it whatever you will, there's been a handful of people who probably slipped through the cracks. And you know, it just happens. You know, and we all have the same feeling. We were talking about this in our leadership meeting. You know, you hire someone, you believe that they can do well, and they have all the tools to do well. Now, will they do well? That's 50-50. You don't know. It's like an NFL draft. You drafted the Heisman Trophy winner. He's the best player in the country, and he should do well, but how often does that work out? You know, he should, but you never know till you get in a game. You just don't know. And then they have to want to do it, take pride in it, and do it with consistency. And then you pray that they can handle feedback, and they're good team people. And by a team person, we're not talking about people who don't say a word and do what they're told. That's not a team person. A team person is someone who speaks up when necessary, who does it in the appropriate way, who's respectful, who sets a positive example. But that's the essence of I think we attract people because we're very respectful to our team. We understand that whatever job they have, it's not easy. We hear them. That doesn't mean we do everything they say, but we're certainly open to the suggestions and the feedback. But I think there's a special coaching style and work style that is unique to us, and we really appreciate, you know, the back and forth and listening. Like there's no like, hey, we're doing this, and yeah, that happens, but it's more like, hey guys, this is what we'd like to do. What are your thoughts on it? If we go around the room and everything's a terrible idea, we're probably not going to do it. But we probably don't say it if it's a terrible idea. There's probably some version of it that can come out the other end that's going to be, you know, most optimal and help us, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
but it's, you know, we attract people because we're a respectful team, and that's really important.
There's one guy that works here, and I remember someone had an accident in our washroom. They're a senior person, had a little whoopsies. And I was working up here actually, and I didn't know about it. And I came down, and this new guy that I'd hired was on his hands and knees in the washroom, cleaning it up. And it wasn't his role, wasn't his responsibility, but just because he had the time and he knew that it was a mistake and he wanted to make sure the environment was clean, he was in there doing that. And it blew my mind because it was that like he was so committed that he wanted to make sure that the entire gym experience was as strong as possible. And that's, you know, huge testament. I think of you, not maybe cleaning toilets, but, you know, you're talking about walking around the gym, picking up stuff off the floor, of the last gym you're at before you opened Anatomy, and how it turned into
Yeah.
one of the relationships you have now.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's certainly a special person in my life, and it's that although that's a true story, it's uh, I don't want anyone to think I'm not the only person who does it. We have a lot of people on our team who actually do that, and I think that answers your question. Like if I step over a towel, don't think for a second that everyone didn't see that. They see it. If I over a bar or a weight, they see it. So you can't fake that. You have to if you see it, you pick it up. And so I think we have a team like if I ask you to pick up that towel, you're probably not in the right place. Thing that I want to waste too much time on. It's kind of like listening to a military book the other day, and when they weren't big on policies. We don't have a lot of policies, but what we do have a set of rules that are put in place to help. And we have, like, for example, we have a rule: show up 15 minutes before the team huddle, which starts at 8 a.m., or 15 minutes before your first client of the day. Now, that's not a rule to ruin your sleep, in your life. It's puts you in a position to be successful because you show up at that time, you can prep, set up, and look professional. So when the person walks in the door, they have an optimal experience. And if all of our community members have an optimal experience, then we're going to be, respected within the fitness community. Now, if you show up 10 times inside the 15-minute policy, it just shows that you lack the discipline and you're really not offering that great experience. Does that make sense? So there's reasons for things, but we want to pay attention to what's important: being a great person, being a great teammate, being great at service to our community, and then being productive so we can help people. So that's the most important. Those are the most important things. But we do have things that help guide you in that direction.
I love it. That's perfect. On the culture front, like taking kind of like a more satellite step back, we've talked a lot about some of the things that you do and your team do and the rules you put in place to create a culture in your team. But within any like business, especially a fitness business, like you said, everyone sees everything. There's multiple layers to that community. There's the
Right.
leadership team, the body architects for you guys, and then there's even like the gym culture. I'm wondering, like, at least in the gym culture with members, participants, and people on the floor and training clients, is there anything that you or your leadership team does specifically that really works well to try and garnish a community and culture?
I think the most important thing that they do is we try our best to keep the lines of communication not only open, but we use the phrase over communicate with the team. We're going to be transparent. We're going to, if they want to know why we do something, we're going to tell them this is why we do it. And if you have a better solution, I'd love to hear it. But the thing that I really believe is the most important is we always need to strive to have better awareness. Because if we have better awareness as team members, as leaders, as just people on the team, we're going to understand that we need to communicate better. We're going to understand that we need to have more. Everyone says empathy. Well, you'll understand to when empathy is needed. You'll understand what's happening in front of you. I used the example the other day with our team. If a client walks in and you say, "Hey, what's up?" Hypothetical, Bill. And Bill says, "Man, I'm really down. I'm really depressed." And you go, "All right, man, we're going to hit some squats today. We're going to crush the squats." And you're like, it went right over your head that it's quite obvious, it should be, that Bill wants to talk about why he's down. And if you're the person that thinks, that's not what I'm here for, man, I'm not Tony Robbins, I'm not Dr. Phil, I don't need to do that BS, well, then you've proven to us that the most important person in the room is you. The most important person in the room should be the person standing in front of you. So if you don't understand that, or that's not the case, that's okay. I'm not telling you how to act, but we are telling you that you took on the responsibility to serve others. And now you don't want to do that. That doesn't mean that you forget about yourself. It means, this is the example I give, Brandon. When you're in your room by yourself, or your home, or your bedroom, for example, the most important person to you should be you. When you step outside those rooms or outside your home and you go to a job or a team, you have the responsibility to serve the person in front of you. That could be your team member, that could be a community member, that could be a client. And when you lose sight of that, you usually struggle. So that's something that we all need to keep in mind.
I love that, and thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. There's something about, in my opinion, I'm obviously insanely biased, and I'm sure you are too, but the personal training client relationship that I think is extremely sacred and different, because unlike any other service providing, you and I will spend a lot of time with a person potentially in a month, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, sometimes more than their essential family members.
For sure.
And then sometimes they're with us for 5 years, 10 years, 15 or more. And that's an extremely, I don't want to sound spiritual too much, but like a holy and very trustworthy relationship that goes beyond, it's not family in the same way. It's not friendship, but it's a whole different trust relationship where there's a neutral party, but it's all around that individual. And I love it. Like, I love it so much.
Yeah. I mean, from 2006 to 2018, I trained like the same 8 people, anywhere from 4 to 6 days a week. Now, these are people who, when I started from very humble beginnings in training, I used their cars, I stayed at their homes, I was at their dinner table. I've seen them have 4 or 5 kids. And the relationship is so powerful, special, unique, and like it goes way beyond trainer client. So I think there's, like, people ask, like, where does the foundation come from? To be quite honest, I think it comes from that group of people that I worked with, that now it's their kids, now it's their husband or their wife or their sister or their brother or their parents and all their friends at work and all their communities, and everything came together. Likewise, by the way, for my business partners, because they have all those relationships and friends that they brought into the community. And think about the years and years and years of building friendships, building relationships, and building something, a community that people come together to share something special, which is, yes, it's fitness and wellness, but how it's delivered is, we want everyone in our community, to do well and excel and be happy. And, so I talked to a woman yesterday that said, I haven't been in the gym and I wanted to come back, and every time I drive by, because I'm so busy, I'm sad, she said. So, thank goodness she's coming back, because it's a very fulfilling part of her life. It's certainly fulfilling for us and our team, but it's fulfilling for members. Like, we're very fortunate. Every gym, every health facility has their challenges and issues, but I don't think we have a lot of them. I think we have a lot of awesome human beings who are, for the most part, very happy and positive, who like to be around like-minded people and see others win. And I think that is unique. I don't think it's not common to have a few thousand people who really feel that way. And I think that starts with our team and our leaders, and everyone wants to take part in that. And why wouldn't you? Because it's a happy, positive thing.
Have you found that since Anatomy has grown and the 1,000 membership plus has expanded, that nowadays the majority of new clients and members that show up are pretty much the demographic and psychographic that you would like to see at Anatomy?
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, where are you based out of? I forget, Brandon. I'm so
Toronto.
sorry. Yeah, what a nice place, Toronto. I love Toronto. But Miami's very unique, right?
Yeah.
Miami, that's, be honest about what it is. People really like to look fit. They like to look good. They like to take care of at least their external body. They care about how they look. But not only that, they care about how they train. They want to train hard. They want to train optimally for whatever their goals are, and they can't be wrong. Those are their goals. Right. So I think that we attract a certain type of member who appreciates the things that we are, that range from training to a clean facility to a facility that's service oriented, and they know that. And we have celebrities in all the time, and they want to be here, not because it's anatomy, more because anatomy is a place where it's service first, and we're going to take care of you. You're going to be in a secure place. That's why they want to be here. It has nothing to do with the hoopla or the name. It's because our team does a great job, and that's why they want to be here. I know I'm stating the obvious, but it's more, they're secure, and there's a lot of things that come with that name, and I'm very proud of that. And I know my business partners are very proud of that as well. And it's something really special, and it's growing.
Incredible. I'm wondering, almost on the other end of the equation, Marc, in your experience, what has been like the biggest thing you've ever seen that has hindered the growth of a culture in a business?
I, me, and my. That's the truth. I mean, I played sports from the time I was 5 years old till I was 31. I think, yeah. So I may have added a year, but my point is, to me, the most successful teams I've ever been on, they may have unique personalities. They could have guys who were even jerks at times about certain things, but they all understood one thing, that we have to make this work. We have to get along. This is ours, and we're doing it together. Now, if the team has a quarterback that's incredible, everyone acknowledges that. They stay out of the quarterback's way. If they have a guy who's not doing well, the team gathers around that person and helps pull them up. And if that person can't do what they're supposed to do, the team spits them out. But it's not ruthless. It's just that I think we have to. I've seen people who, in conversations, they say a lot of I and me, and they're very like me-centric. Those things rip apart a team very fast, very fast. And in the state of the world we live in today, everyone has the mindset, I got to get mine, I got to get mine, I got to get mine. And look, I understand that. I understand it costs money to live, and things can be hard. But if you choose to be here, this is how we do things here. And this is what we're doing. And if you don't want to be a part of that, that's okay. That doesn't mean you're bad. I don't judge you. I know what we're doing here. And we hire people because of who they are and their personalities and their character. And everyone can have their own different goals. That's what makes us unique, and that's very positive. But as long as we're moving in the same direction, we'll do well. At least a start, right? So that's what rips apart a team. And I think I 100% agree with you. And I'm just wondering, maybe this isn't a part of your role set right now, but how have you handled bad eggs in the past as far as teammates? Yeah, that's a great question, and it's always very. I think it starts with trying to understand why they're not giving back or contributing what they need to contribute. And it's what I said before, meaning, if someone's not being like, everyone's working and everyone's trying to be productive and everyone's trying to add value and everyone's trying to be a great teammate, but not everyone's trying to be a great teammate. If you're just completely looking out for yourself, it's not going to work. it's just not going to work. And you try to first bring it to their attention. Second, you try to educate them at why it's important that these things are crucial to the success of the team and the organization. And then you put it to them. Do you want to be here? And most of them say yes. I say, well, okay. And then you say, okay, if you'd like to be here, we'd love to have you here, but it's contingent on you doing A, B, and C. Now, if you don't do A, B, and C, it's not going to work out. So we're giving you a heads up. We're going to hold you accountable, and we're just letting you know. I think that's really, really important. And I've had to do it in the past. I've let go of some very, very productive people who just, toxicity is real, and you do not want to get it on anyone else. So you don't want anyone to spread that on your team, right? So if Jocko talks about generators and projectors, right? A generator is someone who generates positivity, energy, is there to help. There's a challenge. The challenge may suck, but they're like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. Projectors are, I don't know. That's not in my job script. What am I getting paid? Am I getting paid to do that? And there's nothing, I don't think that that's innately wrong, but we do this thing where if we're unsure, we paint a hypothetical scenario and we'll ask like 20 team members. And then we'll ask 20 team members what they think. And if 20 of them come back and say the same thing, we know that behavior is not optimal because one person's doing it. And we say we immediately take responsibility. Maybe we didn't do enough to inform, teach, show that person the way. But if 20 people know the way, what does that tell you?
That they have a good sense of which direction they should be going.
Well, the 20 people do. The one person.
That's right. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Projectors and generators too. I've heard that. I want to write that down because I'd forgotten about it. That's a great one. Marc, I got one last question for you, and then we'll get you off to your day. And it's kind of like a Coles Notes question, but kind of like as simple as we can make it is if there's a business owner who's listening to this for the first time they heard you, if you were going to write a list out, Coles Notes of step 1 to whatever, maybe even just 3 steps to generate culture and get people starting to go the right direction, what's the first thing that needs to happen, and where'd you say it needs to end up?
I think the first thing to happen is find something that you truly believe in and know that understand. We when we hire people, we ask this question. I used to ask, and it was my fault. I made a big mistake. I used to say, okay, one of the final questions, are you committed? And they say, of course I'm committed. So we take it one step further. We say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very committed, 1 being very non-committal, where would you fall on that scale? And they say, I'm a 10 or I'm a 12. I'm off the scale. And we were like, this is great. But then we realized we needed to be very specific. Tell me what committed looks like to you. Because I need to know if you think committed is showing up at 10 a.m. and leaving at noon, then we have I try to be so careful, Brandon. It's not that it's wrong. That's just not what commitment looks like here. Because if you're doing that and everyone else is really putting in great time and great effort, that means that that's not what we're looking for. You can probably do that somewhere else, but that's not going to be enough for what we're doing. So, you have to figure out what is truly to you and what you can be truly committed to, and then you have to go. And then you have to go forever. And forever is a long time. I talked about this with another gentleman in fitness who is well known, and we said, everyone wants to have this goal, and they put up pictures on social media. They're on the beach and they take a picture of their feet and they're in the sand and look at me, I made it. and that all the pictures look the same. There's one thing about those pictures that is a common bond or a common trend. They're all alone, and I have no aspirations to. Don't get me wrong, I want my Yellowstone ranch in the woods, but I like being around people. I do. You know why? Because I can add value to their lives. It makes me feel good. I want to help. A lot of people help me, and I think to start, business stuff. We have, my business partner, David Geller, who's just incredible. This guy's like a genius. He knows all that stuff, and we talk a lot. But I mean, I don't help him with that. He knows his stuff. He's so smart. But I think we all agree on whatever. We got to really care about what the cause, what the mission is. What's the mission? Let's like reaffirm that mission. What are we trying to do? And it was like, yeah, we're trying to make money, but that's it's got to be it's got to go beyond that. I've had people in remarks, people say, yeah, you're trying to make. I just laugh. I'm like, there's a million ways to do that, right? But you have to really want to do it this way, and this way it's helping people. And I'll tell you a quick story. One of my a man in my life who I respect very much, a college football coach, father figure-ish. I was telling this story this morning. We have a new body architect who used to play football in college, and he came to us via football, and now he's a body architect, and he's an incredible young man. We're very excited for him. He just started with us as a body architect, and we were sharing this story, and he said, well, I think the most important thing is to be a good person first, and then you could have great success. And I was so happy of him because he's brand new and he gets that, right? So I had a college football coach that he wasn't concerned with wins and losses. He would develop young men. He knew if they worked hard and they had great character and they did the things that they were supposed to do, that would translate into wins, right? So here if we do all the things we're supposed to do, we'll have great success. We'll be productive. We'll have a great company, but we try to focus on all those little things and make sure that we're offering great guidance, support, coaching, and teaching, and then that will translate into a positive business, right? And before it's like, define positive business any way you want. We get to help a lot of people, and that feels really good. And when like science, you get a dopamine hit, what do you want? You want more of it. So we like helping people, and we do hang our hat on. We want to help as many people as possible. And that's really important for us. And I think the commonality is that we have majority of our team members, if not all, that's why we do presentations. That's why we do speaking. That's why we do table topics. That's why we put a PowerPoint together, their life story. We want them to leave here better than they came. So all of a sudden they gathered all these skills from anatomy. We're not looking for credit to their life. That's the most important thing.
I love it, Marc. Listen, man, thank you so much for your time. You've done so much like really incredible, unique things, and you can hang your hat on just those accolades alone. But truthfully, what I admire about you so much more is that regardless of what you've done in the past, every day you live the things that you teach and embody for your presentations, your education, and even the things you do in your business. And I can see that with your social media and the things that you do. You're always projecting other people, the way you speak. It's really about you actually live this life. And so thank you so much for that. I appreciate it because it inspires me.
Thank you very much. But I have to give a shout out to the anatomy team, all the people that helped me. A lot of people, and there's a lot of people who still help me tremendously because I'm still learning. I'm learning a lot. I learn a new lesson every day, man. If not one, maybe two. But the team is awesome. Really trying to do everything. The ability to move the company forward in the most positive way. Huge shout out to my wife, who I couldn't do what I do each and every day without my wife. She's such a fascinating woman who's smart. She's a warrior, and she really supportive. She's really supportive, and I think it's
Well, you know what?
hard to do that for her in my life, because that's a, I feel like another trunk of a tree when my wife and I came together, because she provides.
So, but I was told to call a friend because you look at the
Thank
word.
you for doing what you do, because all these insight and knowledge, and it's really, it's helpful. It's really helpful. You're giving people something that they couldn't get 10, 20 years ago. And let's be honest, it's a version of Cliff Notes if they pay attention, and you're doing something really special. So kudos to you, and thank you for doing it.
Thank you, Mark. It's so much fun. And I mean, much like you guys, I just like seeing trainers succeed. I don't want to hear about trainers not having access to the information that they need to do the things they want to do and help people. And so thank you, man. Well, thank you for your time, and congratulations on all the fun fathering you get to do. And shout out to your wife for supporting you to help make this happen.
Thank you so much. Have an amazing, amazing day, and keep doing what you're doing, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark. You too. We'll talk to you soon.
Great job.